Hey, brothers and sisters, thank you for tuning in today. My name is Pastor Frank Starks, and I am the host with the most right here on Praising with the Pastor. Hey, we're here today. We got an exciting show. I'm telling you, man. If you miss this show, you're gonna miss a treat. But we want to talk to those that love animals, that have dogs. What kind of dogs? This is going to be a new show coming from Kcwg. As we talk about animals, talk about dogs. Man, I mean, you got dogs out there. Maybe we need to get that song. Who let the dogs out? and so that type of stuff. But once again, the theme of our show is that we put a spotlight on independent artists, actors, authors, and interesting people. And today I got with me, you already see him on the camera, Mr. Pushan is with us today. Amen. And we're going to talk about dogs. We want to talk about dogs. So if you got any dog questions, anything you want to know about dog, put it over here in the chat. We're going to talk about it today because Mr. Cooper, he's not an expert. He's an extraordinary, mentally sound person with animals. So I'm excited to have him in the studio. Mr. Pushan Cooper, what's up?
Hey, Pastor Frank, how are you today?
Man, I'm excited to have you in the studio. You and I have been talking for a while, but this is the first time we really had transaction to see what each other look like.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. You sitting
Yes,
back
sir.
all laid back, cool with your camouflage hat on and your highway patrol glasses. I'm saying? So we're excited about what we're going to talk about today. And before we went live, we were talking about some dogs that you had raised and watching your father and your uncle raise these dogs, and now you started raising dogs when you was about 5 years old.
Yes, sir. Well, I've been raising dogs since I was 5 years old. I've been hunting since I was 5 years old. The type of dogs I raise are hunting dogs. I'm sorry for saying a lot, but how I got into it, I would watch my uncle feed his dogs. I would go out to the dog pen with my daddy while he fed his dogs, and I just fell in love with it. My cousins, they had dogs. My older cousins, they had dogs. And then the hunting club that we went to, a lot of the guys they brought their dogs out, and just to listen to the dogs get in the woods and start pursuing the deer, that just made me fall in love with the sport, made me fall in love with the dogs, and I was hooked ever since. From 5 years old, and I'm 28 years old now, so I've been hooked ever since. And
So,
I've got my first set of hunting dogs.
so tell me, when all y'all got together, what they do? Bring their dogs in the back of their truck?
Yes, sir. So probably like 20, 30 guys will all be there, and probably like a good percentage of them will have dogs on the back of their truck. They'll have them in these cage like things called dog boxes. They'll
Okay.
have about between 1 to 10 dogs in a box. The dog boxes are huge, and it's just a bunch of loud dogs, and they all just sit in the back of the truck. We all sit around, talk, map out where we're gonna go hunting. We take our dogs. We have tracking equipment for them. The dogs have water, a little bit of food in there, just in case they want to have a snack while they're waiting to go hunting. And they have just as much fun as we do,
Wow,
you
wow.
know. And
So, so, so,
that's
so when they chase the animal, they shoot the animal that they're hunting for. The dogs go get it.
well. What happens is we um we have standards, and we line everybody up in their particular stand, and we it's kind of like a very precise way to do it because we back into the woods, release the dogs, and they go in there. We walk in with them. Sometimes we'll go and make like pig calls, like "see," stuff like that. And the dogs they go and they track. We jump up. They jump up the deer. They start barking, and what they do is they chase the deer into the direction of the standers, the guys on the stand. And there's like I want to say there's like a 75 to 25% chance that the 75% chance that the deer survive, 25% chance that they might actually get the deer. Because when the deer come out the woods, you don't know which spot they're gonna come out, and the dogs are sometimes barking, and chasing them, so the deer, sometimes run out. And when they run out, that gives a standard opportunity to take the deer. But if the deer escapes, then the dogs are trained to chase after the deer. So after the deer escapes and you don't capture the deer, the main priority is to make sure that the dogs are all, you know, found and taken care of, so they won't chase after the deer. Because if they start chasing after the deer, they might run on someone else's property. They might, go anywhere. So you want to make sure you capture them, because their goal is to catch the deer. And me personally, if a deer come out on me, I know that I'm not the best shot, so I know that deer's still gonna have a 100% chance of living. But
Wow. Wow.
I've turned loose my dogs, and they were in the woods. I was, hooping and hollering in there. I'm like, oh man, we're doing this thing in here, and they're barking. I'm like, oh wow, I'm so proud of them. I'm like, I'm gonna tell them how proud I am when I see them. When they come out, the deer came out, and it was a huge deer, and I just missed every shot I took at them. And so my dogs, they all just stopped and just looked at me in disappointment. So, like that was the
But
funny
ain't
moment
that
for
cheating?
me.
Bushan, ain't that cheating?
Sir?
Ain't that cheating where you got the dog chasing the deer out for you? Ain't you supposed to get back in the woods and sit down there on the ground and look like the ground and let the deer come up on you?
Well, that's a different type of hunting. See, I prefer the hound hunt, and that type of hunting
Hound
is
hunt.
still hunting.
Wait a
And the
minute.
reason
Stop
why I
right
don't
there.
like
Stop right there. How many of y'all know what hound hunting is? So now we talk about hound hunting. Man, this is the first time I heard this. Hey, you listen to KCWG The Truth, the best internet radio on the planet. We're talking about the Kcwg Dog Show right here. Man, I'm telling you, I'm learning so much behind this. So now we're talking about hound hunting. Okay, so we learned what the dogs do. Okay, now what is the standard? What is
the
set the standard?
the guys who take the stands. This so their job basically is to stand so many hundreds of yards away from each other to make sure that everyone has a clear shot, and they have to
Okay,
stand still, listen for the dogs, keep in touch with us on the CBs,
okay,
and tell us what they hear, tell us if they hear anything come their way, and their job is to just stand there and wait, and just in case the deer come out by them, and then they have a chance to harvest the deer. But if they miss the deer, the main priority is catching the dogs. And that's what we
okay,
always tell them: make sure you catch the dogs. So a lot of the guys who take stands, the standers, they'll have a leash on them so they can catch the dogs. And let's say no deer come out, but a couple of dogs come out and they catch the dogs. They'll get on the CB like, "Hey guys, I got your dog. So and so, I got your dogs. So you come and put them in your truck, or whoever's nearby with a truck, they can put the dogs in." And after the hunt's over, the main thing is making sure that everybody caught their dog, making sure that everybody got back to the clubhouse safe. And so after the hunt, we go back to the club, make sure the dogs have water, make sure the dogs have snacks, make sure the people have food and water,
right.
and then we'll go and do it again. And then we do like 2 or 3 hunts, and it's pretty much an all day thing. But me personally, it's not all about killing the deer for me. It's about just being out in the woods, listening to the dogs bark,
Okay,
you know, being out there with my brothers. So it's a
right.
good experience. There's some good videos on YouTube that'll show pretty much how a dog drive goes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fun. I mean, I
Wow.
love deer hunting. I love rabbit hunting, coon hunting. I only hunt what I eat. So I only hunt
Only know what
rabbit, deer,
you
and
eat.
coon and hog.
So you eat
Yes,
a
sir. That's the
coon.
kind of hunter I am.
You eat a coon?
Yes, sir.
Now, is that a
Fry
raccoon
them
or
up and eat
just a
them.
coon?
We call them coons, but they're actually raccoons.
Okay. Oh, wow. Those things get pretty big.
Yes, sir. They do.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
they're big. They're furry. Um, and sometimes you can be walking all night in the woods, and you probably won't even see one.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've had dogs to hunt coon. I had dogs to hunt rabbits and deer. My first dogs I ever had were two little beagle puppies. I got them for Christmas, and my mom was like, I think Santa left you something out on your daddy truck, and that's when I went out there and see my little dogs. But I like to say I love dogs, but also I respect dogs, and I think that's where a lot of people don't understand when it comes to dogs. You gotta love them and you gotta respect them. Just like with people, you gotta love them and you gotta respect them. You gotta respect their boundaries.
Right.
And a lot of times, I feel like when it comes to people, over they basically invade the dog's personal space sometimes. You
Hmm.
know, I can think about people whenever they're and well, I'm not trying to cause any controversy when I say this, but whenever people feed their dogs, you got some people that love to rub and pet on their dogs. Me
Right.
personally, I wouldn't rub or pet on my dog while they eat, or any of my dogs while they eat, because of the simple fact I know I don't want anybody rubbing and petting on me while I eat. So I don't believe in
Right.
rubbing and petting on the dog while they eat. Let them eat in peace. And animal shelters, they do some tests with dogs. I have a fake hand and I brush the dog while the dog eats. And if the dog bites the hand, sometimes they'll say, okay, well, this dog can't be adopted out. And that's a process I do not personally like, but I understand that you got to make sure the dog's not going to bite anyone. But I think that's not the best process to see if that's going to, if the dog's going to bite anyone.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't believe in
Before we jump way off. Okay. So we talked about your
mhm.
two beagles. You got for
Yes, sir.
Christmas. Okay. How long did you
Yes,
have
sir.
those dogs?
I had them for 10 years.
So they got to be from little dogs to big dogs.
Well, they didn't get too much bigger, but yes, sir.
Right.
They got to
Right.
be old and gray.
Okay. And so that's what you did your hunting with. Right.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
do they have the adult hunting? Then they have the junior hunting. Now, were you in the youth hunting sport?
Well, I was it was kind of like a mixture because we have youth days at my hunting club, but what I did, we all the adults and the kids all hunted together during the hunting season.
So it was a family affair.
Yes, sir.
So this is what family can do. Family can hunt dogs. They can coon hunt,
Yes, sir.
hound hunt. Wow, wow. All right. So we got a lot of people listening. I just want to make sure that they understand, what where we're going with this. Okay. And so yeah, so people can come together. Now, do they have any Christian hunting clubs?
Yes, sir. The hunting clubs I'm in, they're Christian based hunting clubs. We pray before we eat. We pray before we hunt. We make sure that we keep the Lord in everything we do because you're out there. You got firearms. There's wild animals out there. There's vehicles passing by. You want to make sure that you got the protection of the Lord with you.
Mm.
And me personally, I try to pray as much as I can when I'm out there,
Right,
just so I
right.
can. I tell the Lord, like, God, even if I don't kill a deer, I want to make sure I just see one. Because it's just seeing one for me that makes me happy. Don't get me wrong, I like to harvest them too, but I just like being out there and the experience, just seeing the animals and everything.
What has you ever been out there and anybody ever got shot? Uh, a person got shot or something like that?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So okay. Well, we'll talk about that another day. But I can
Yes, sir.
remember as I'm a young guy when I was a young guy. I'm still a young guy. But I remember that the men of my town, they shot a. I remember they said it was a 10 point buck.
Oh, that's a
And
big one.
yeah, and they had him strapped on the car. They had him tied on the car, and they were so they were talking about the antlers and stuff like that. So I remember it was big, man, and I think a lot of people got a lot of meat off of that. So don't they call that venison?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, deer meat is
Vincent.
venison.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay. So yeah, have you ever had any?
Yes, sir. I love deer meat. Um,
Really?
my grandma, she balls it in a crock pot, and then after it cooks overnight, and it's just looking like some stew beef, she'll take it out, drain all the water off of it, cut up some onions, and just season it up with some peppers and fry it up like that. It is so good. We do our raccoon the same way. It is so good.
Now there's one
That
thing I
with
can
some
say.
rice.
There's one thing I can say in my life. I've not eaten no deer meat, no raccoon meat. And wow. So I guess when I come to South Carolina, I gotta have me a deer burger.
Yeah, we're gonna have you some deer, some coon, some rabbit, some squirrel, some
Wow.
hog.
So now I eat a lot of hogs. Now I know it's about hogs. Okay. But wow. Yeah, once again, you're listening to KCWG The Truth. I'm Pastor Frank, and my guest today is Pushan. And we're talking about the dog show or the dog broadcast today. We're going to get into more of talking about local dogs, what kind of dog will be best for you. I'm in the uh, I'm looking for a dog. I want to get a dog for my home and my son, and so we're going to discuss what's a good dog for that. People love their dogs more than they love human beings sometimes, and so we got dog hotels, we got dog schools, we got dog stores, and we got animals. So people love their animals. So this show, we're going to talk about those things about how to take care of our animals. And so you were given a conversation earlier, and you talked about red tick and black tick. What's a tick?
Um, red ticks and blue ticks. They're a type of hound dog, and a blue tick is my favorite dog of all time.
Really?
I've had blue ticks in my life, and I loved every one of them. They are just a big, loud, floppy eared, drooling. They are all kinds of loving kind of dogs, and they make the loudest barks you ever did hear. Um, a blue tick. I mean, I wish I could put a picture of one up on the phone, but blue ticks. I love them. Lord, I love those
Wow.
dogs. They those dogs have a special place in my heart. The first one I ever interacted with was one of my cousin dogs. His name was Blue Deacon. I was like 4 or 5, and he was a huge dog, and I just went up to him, just started petting him, poking him in the eyes, and everything. And he was just calm. He was cool. He was collected, and that's probably why I wanted hound dogs because of Blue Deacon. And I just fell in love with hound dogs. I fell in love with blue ticks right then and there.
So when you
Wow,
say a
that just
blue
brought me
tick,
back a good memory.
now when you say a blue tick, now I got it up on my phone looking at what a blue tick look like. But what? Why do they call it a blue tick or a black tick? I mean, what gives it that description?
I cannot remember, and I was just reading about it a couple of weeks ago. But they're not blue at all. They're gray and black, and then some of them are white
Yeah,
and black, and then some of them are look like solid black with hints of gray in it. But it's the hints of gray that they call the ticking. It's like the
yeah,
little specks of gray that they call the ticking. And they got
right.
another version of it, the red tick. They're kind of like a reddish rust color, and it's those little specks in it they call the ticking as well. And that's what red ticks. That's
Well, they got they
that's
got they got the Tearing Walker, a coon hound. okay, which is
Yes,
a
sir.
co-ed, and then they got the American English Coonhound. No, man, I might
Well,
change.
actually,
I might change and give me a hound. Okay, they got a Coonhound type of Cincinnati hound. They got the dog breed, which is a black tick Coonhound, and then the American breed. Yeah, so oh man, I might give me a hound. Won't be Elvis Presley. Ain't nothing but a hound though.
I mean, if you can handle the barking, yeah, I would definitely get one.
Are they pretty expensive?
I'm ooh. I will tell you this: hunting dogs can go from free to $10,000 real quick.
Really?
I've only seen one dog that was $10,000, and that was at the Grand American Coon Hunt. It's a coon convention that comes to Orangeburg, South Carolina, and they have all types of hunting dogs, all type of different dog shows there. But this one particular guy, it was years ago. He had this big old Walker Hound, and he was like, "My dog's $10,000. He's the world champion, and if you want to breed with him, it's $6,000. But if you want to buy him, it's 10,000." And I'll never forget it because I wanted that dog because he was huge, and I was like, "Yeah, I want that dog." But my dad looked at me like, "You ain't getting that dog." But I'll never forget a $10,000 dog. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
But
Now,
yeah, they
can
can
a
range
hound
from
dog
free to.
can a coonhound live in the city?
I wouldn't recommend it. To be honest with
Oh
you.
no.
The only reason I wouldn't recommend having a hunting dog in the city and basically having a hunting dog if you want to like. I've never seen a hunting dog play fetch. I'm pretty sure they can because any dog can do anything. 'Cause I took a Labrador Retriever and had him running deer.
Right.
But me personally, I wouldn't have a hound dog in the city because they bark, and then with and they love the bark. You know,
Right.
they can do the middle of the day and they decide they want to go. "Arr, arr," you
Okay.
know, but
Do that
if you can
again.
handle that,
Yeah, you did it again.
"Arr, arr, 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 arr."
Okay. Okay.
but that's my best impression of how they do. I
Right.
used to could do it better, but
That's all right.
my
That's all
mama told me
right.
to quit doing that.
Right. Right.
But if you can handle all that barking, because you got some that make those loud balls like that, or you got some that be like, "Arr, arr, 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 arr," have the chopping in the bark. And
Right.
actually, with those different types of barks, those are what people look for whenever they're into competition hunting.
Okay.
But they, like I said, coon dogs can range from free to 10,000, and they can
Wow.
sometimes make you a lot of money if you want to go into competition hunting with your dogs.
Mm.
Winning trophies, winning year supplies of dog food, winning cash cups.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of like on where in the movie and the book where the red fern grows, where they all put money in the trophy, and
Right.
whoever won got to keep the money for
Right.
that competition.
Okay.
But there's a lot of money in it. Um, there's a lot of heartache in it as well.
Okay.
Um, a lot of people, I don't know why, but then sometimes I can understand it. But a lot of people end their friendships over hunting dogs,
Mm.
and a lot of people get into arguments over hunting dogs. You know, because
Wow.
how people joke and be like, "Oh man, this and that." When it comes to hunting dogs, a, a joke I don't like is when somebody say, "Your dog ain't nothing but a house dog. Your dog ain't nothing but a pet."
Mm.
Because to me that's an insult to me and saying that I didn't train a dog worth anything or my dog is ain't as good as your dog. So that kind of is an insult to me if someone insults the quality and the technique of what my dogs can do. And
Wow.
when it comes to the heartache part, there's a lot of people who are out to hurt hunters and their dogs.
Wow.
A lot
Wow.
of people. And the thing about being a hound hunter, we got enemies on all sides. We got the people who are anti-hunting. Then we got hunters who are anti-dog hunting. Then we got people who just don't care if the sport lives or dies.
Wow.
And these people are so devilish till they'll they'll go wherever they'll find where people are hunting to and go and kidnap the dogs, take the
What?
tracking systems out of them, and take the dogs clear out another state. I've seen on Facebook where dudes chase down people who kidnap their dogs. They had to call the cops and everything on people. And
Mm,
like down here, and that'll get you serious jail time stealing hunting dogs.
really?
And
Wow.
you got people who intentionally go out and try to run over your dogs. It's just there's some devilish people out there. There are people who try to run over people while they're hunting. So
Mm.
there's some really devilish people out there, and it's
Well,
dangerous sometimes.
let me tell you this, we get ready to wrap this show up. Tell us a little bit about the Lord. I'm going to put you on and just share a little bit how the Lord has blessed you.
Well, I mean, the Lord has blessed me tremendously, you guys. Um, I came a long way. Uh, mm. Sometimes when you think about the goodness of the Lord, you just got to say, and think about every place He brought you from. My mama, she's an apostle, Apostle Maxine Cooper, and I grew up in a holiness, well, apostolic church, and I grew up having church in living rooms and going from living rooms to church, the regular church buildings. I played the scrub board. That's how country I am. I played the scrub board. The guitar, I'm not very good at the guitar, but I tried my best. But the Lord's just done so much. I mean, He He brought me a mighty long way. I will say this. He brought me a mighty long way. I thank God for introducing me to Pastor Frank. That's my buddy. I know Pastor Frank for about a year now. That's my buddy. But he's brought me a long way. Um, I just cannot tell it all. It's just, mm, God is real good. Oh, I'm a deacon, by the way. I'm a deacon at my church, Faith Prayer Deliverance Temple. Shout out. But yeah, God is good. You know, if you can just sit back sometimes and just think about all the things that ever happened to you in your life, and just think how you're here right now, and think that was nobody but the Lord, and just think how strong that He made you that you go through that stuff. Mm. Whew. I almost got in the Holy Ghost show. I'm sorry. Lord, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. But yeah, I'm a deacon. I go to my mama's church. You know, I host a men's group every Tuesday. Go to prayer meeting every Wednesday and Friday, and I try to be the best version of myself that the Lord wants me to be.
Amen.
But
Amen.
there's some things that easily beset you, but you got to just keep on going.
Got to keep
And I
on
thank
going.
y'all for letting me ramble.
Well, you'll
Talk
be
about
all
my
right,
crazy
brother.
life of hunting dogs.
Well, you'll be all right, man. We're going to come see every Tuesday morning. If we can, we're going to talk about the push. I'm calling it the Pushan um, puppy hour or the coon hour. So yeah. So we want to thank you for tuning in today with my guest and the future host of the Dog Hour, Mr. Pushan, my friends. So we're excited to have him. We're excited to have you tuning in to the show. Have any questions, comments, or anything that you want to know about dogs? We're going to bring on so many people about animals on this show. It's going to be breathtaking. So once again, we thank you for tuning in to the Praising with the Pastor, where I am Pastor Starks, where we put a spotlight on independent artists, actors, authors, and interesting people. So God bless you. We talk to you soon. Hold on, Pushan. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye bye.